Meet Sharon Hauk, my nanny of 18 years. Sharon is 61 years old and a loyal sister, wife, mother, and grandma. She is a family person. She loves being around children and feels obligated to take care of anyone in need. I have known Sharon since I was 6 months old. Basically, I have grown up with her as my second mother, because she spent a couple hours a day, 5 days a week with us for 18 years now. Usually, families get rid of babysitters and nannies as their children reach a certain age, but with Sharon, things were different. She is basically family. She is the most kind hearted, loving, self reliant woman I know. She continues to be a role model for me every day. One adjective I would use to describe Sharon would be caring. Sharon has cared for me for as long as I can remember. Besides caring for my family, Sharon puts a lot of her effort in her 4 sons, 2 stepkids, and 11 grandchildren. Like the Pharaoh's daughter, Sharon has a special spot in her heart for children and babies. Sharon has taken children in when their parents haven't been able to care for them, just like how the Pharaoh's daughter took in Moses. I know it took a lot of courage for the Pharaoh's daughter to take in Moses, even though she could have gotten in a lot of trouble for it, but I think Sharon would have done the exact same thing if she was in her position. Another woman of courage Sharon is like is Malala. Sharon, like Malala, values the importance of education. Throughout her whole life, she has constantly had to move to different states and join different schools, but did it with such grace because of her passion for learning. Sharon and Malala both stick up for what they believe in. They value the importance of speaking up for what is right. They both believe in equality in men and women. Sharon has always taught me that I am equal to all the boys my age. Unlike Malala, Sharon has not experienced a tragedy, though. Sharon got a divorce from her first husband when she was 34 years old. This was an extremely hard time for her, and she constantly battled with the thought of why this was happening to her and why she was going through this pain. She turned to God and found herself going to church more and more. She had to raise 3 boys on her own, and then one day she saw God's light. At one of her son's graduations, she met this man named Brian, who was a father to one of her son's friends. They instantly connected, and to this day they are still happily married. She finally realized that this is all part of God's plan. This has to do with one of the main ideas of Esther. Esther's faith and courage saves her people, just like how Sharon's faith helped her understand and trust in God. It shows that even though people do not acknowledge God's presence, He is always at work. His control becomes especially clear at the end of the book of Esther. Events had turned around completely from the way they were at the beginning of the book. God not only rules over the major issues in life, but He also uses hardships of life to accomplish His purposes. Sharon's best friend is her younger sister, Amy. Sharon would resemble Elizabeth, and her sister Amy, who is 12 years younger than her, would resemble Mary. Both Sharon and Amy were pregnant within 3 months of each other. Sharon said Amy was extremely nervous to tell Sharon and her other family members that she was pregnant because she was only engaged to her husband. Her feelings of being frightened when people found out resemble a lot of what Mary must have felt when she found out she was pregnant. Sharon resembles Mary's older cousin Elizabeth in this situation. Although Sharon was not barren, she was older when she had her first kids. Throughout Sharon and Amy's pregnancies, they had each other to get through it, like how Elizabeth had Mary and vice versa. Sharon's advice on how to be a good friend is this: listen and truly listen to one another. For listening is a sign that one cares. Be loyal and honest. It's the foundation of a healthy friendship. Be positive. Nobody likes a negative Nelly, and people will draw towards you if you are positive. Appreciate one another. Never forget to show someone you care about them, even if it's just a little reminder. Sharon also reminds me a lot of Sheryl Sandberg. Although both work in completely different type of situations, both have the same beliefs. Sharon, like Sheryl, believes that equality is extremely important in today's society. As I said earlier, Sharon has taught me ever since I was little to not be afraid to stand up to boys and to know that I have just as much rights as they do. Another piece of advice Sharon always has given me was to never underestimate myself and to be proud of all my accomplishments. This is exactly the message of Sheryl Sandberg. She believes we should give ourselves credit for our own success, and Sharon agrees. Her advice to young women today would be standing up for what one believes in and voicing one's opinion. One quote she said to me was, "How is the world supposed to know you exist if you don't speak up?" She also says, never fall into the trap that you can't do something just because you are a girl. She says you should stay true to you. She also wants everyone to be a role model for each other by standing up for what's right. Overall, my interview with Sharon has taught me many things. For example, I realized how big of a role model she is in my life. Throughout hearing all of her stories, I realized she held her faith and turned towards God even though it wasn't easy. Sharon believes in voicing opinions and standing up for oneself. She taught me that I should value many things in life like education, family, friends, and present opportunities. Sharon's way of life gives me hope for myself that hopefully one day I can become at least half the woman she is.